So, a number of people ask me about, they're so excited about the idea of entrepreneurship and they want to jump into it. And my advice is pretty straightforward. If you are excited about something to the extent that you feel like it opens up many possibilities, many of which you couldn't even possibly imagine where they would take you, but they're all allowing you to meet some goal that you've got in as more like a dream of some sort, and it pumps up the adrenaline every morning, then you should go for it. But I have one caveat, which is entrepreneurship has, with full disclosure, as I'm sure you've heard many a time, lots of ups and downs. There are some exhilarating ups when things really click and begin to work, and for 6-9 months, everything is all systems go. And then there are some real downers when things are tough and you're wondering if you can meet payroll, are you going to survive till the next round of capital comes in, et cetera, et cetera. So you need to have a safety net. And by safety net, I mean you need to have a financial safety net so that you can get through those tough times. And I think almost more importantly, you need a psychological safety net. And what I mean by that is you need, by psychological safety net, what I mean is you need to have friends, you need to have a strong team, you need to have family support who will back you up when the going gets rough. But exciting idea with a psychological safety net, all systems are go. Technology is neither necessary nor sufficient to build a large-scale enterprise that can be impactful, profitable, choose your metric. And that's actually one of the themes in my book, Trust, which is there are lots of people that I've worked with over the years, invested in, lots of scars to show for it. There are tech companies, but really whether they embrace the technology or not is not the driver of their success or failure. The driver of their success or failure is being able to imagine how their particular solution, as tech-enabled as it might be or not be, that their solution is addressing the behavioral realities, if you will, of the likely consumer. That's really the key. Now, technology is an enabler of that in many instances, and I think one of the things that I find really lacking in most developing countries, and India is no exception, this despite being a Bangalore hotspot for tech, is that very few of my colleagues and friends who are immersed in Bangalore have, I would say, a very limited appreciation for what science can bring to their enterprise. These days, as I'm sure you read about all the time, or you see on the web or whatever your news channel is for consumption purposes, science is exhilarating in every possible direction. And I don't care what company you're in, there is some version of science and technology that's relevant to you. However, that's not the same as saying that it's either necessary or sufficient. So that's my pointer. So I think startups sometimes make the mistake of equating their initial articulated business model with their raison d'etre, with their reason for being. And I've never known a successful startup where the initial business model is what really ultimately gets traction. All the initial business model is, if you like, one paint brushstroke on a big canvas. So understand what the canvas is. It's a big problem area. And your initial business model is just one brushstroke on it. And it's likely not the place where that's going to be the center of the picture that you're creating on that big canvas. So as long as you understand that the problem space is big and you have to kind of iterate your way to some sort of solution, you won't be a captive to the initial idea. Rather, you will treat the initial idea as an experiment from which you can learn something. I'm inspired by my students. I'm going to tell you about 3 of my students' ventures. Full disclosure, I'm involved in all of them, but they're all very cool. There's a local Bangalore company called TiE that I co-founded with one of my students. It's neat. It meets a consumer need. It provides hot chai to everybody at a moment's notice, wherever they are. And it's increasingly a tech company because we've got what I call chai on the cloud. In other words, robots that make tea for you and deliver them wherever you are. We've got chai on call, which uses machine learning algorithms to deliver tea. Very cool. So that's one. There's another Bangalore-based company, Bangalore-Boston company called Janacare, which does chronic disease management, a pure science company, but we translate the science into small engineering devices that can allow people with chronic disease, kidney failure, heart disease, diabetes, all sorts of stuff to get immediate readings using very novel science. So that's a global business. That's really nice. Third one is the oldest of the three, Aspiring Minds. We're in New Delhi, Beijing, San Francisco, and we're a machine learning company that essentially allocates talent around the world. All interesting, all exciting for me. I think mostly what's special about them is the combination of the entrepreneur, my students or my colleagues, and the fit between them and the particular problem that they're trying to solve. So the guy who runs ShyPoint would, I don't think, be a good fit for the chronic disease company, because he doesn't wake up in the morning thinking that I really want to do something about people who have heart failure. Whereas the guys who run the heart failure company, one of whom is in this event today from Canada, that's what he thinks about. He's a scientist, that's what he thinks about every day, and he's not interested in making chai for the masses. So I think it's the fit between them that makes it kind of hum.